two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my heart, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stunt. Oh, living lively. Everybody tryna ride my wave, they can ride me. Pull up in a foreign to the curb, looking icy. I ain't never stressed about a fit, I'm on hype. I want more friends, there's a problem. I be living like a king since I hopped in. Yeah, my foot is in the bins, yeah, I'm riding with a gang. Yeah, I hit a hot lick, I'm the top shit. Bought a two-seater, it's a Beamer, more than 100 racks. VV's Aquafina, I be iced, I don't ever cap. First name deal, I got my back, yeah, we automatic. Ice cream reefer, hold it up, yeah, we feeling gas. Driving with a Tabo, going 100, running flow with her. Riding with my shawty, yeah, I knew I had to flow with her. Looking like a bottle, shawty bad, yeah, she know what's up. Looking at the stars, I don't fuck it up. Shawty catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my heart, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stunt. Oh, living lively. Everybody tryna ride my wave, they can ride me. Pull up in a foreign to the curb, looking icy. I ain't never stressed about a fit, I'm on hype beats.
Ayo, Parrish, this shit high, boy.
Hop inside an Audi, then I did the dash. Shawty know I only care about the cash. Big guns, big sticks, big rash. She asked me how I got it, said I got it like that. I get it when I want it, smoking marijuana. Keep it hotter than a sauna, smoking till the sun up. They asked me if I have bands, I said bring your funds up. They tested me to a challenge, and they didn't show up. Where they at though? Pop out at your party, and I got the stick tucked. You just walked out on your skateboard looking like a dumb fuck. Mama told me get a bag, and I said run it up. With the naughty and a jag, but I need a bench truck. I need real cheese, big ass peso. Don't fuck with me, or this fucking bankroll. Got a 4.0 GPA on the road. Beating up and down the freeway, didn't pay a single toll. If you fuck with my money moves, I'll make it less relevant. I'll make all of these niggas mad. They might scream and cry and vent. I might stack up 100 racks and buy me an elephant. I might send you another fact. Could you tell me if it's sent? Hop inside an Audi, then I did the dash. Shawty know I only care about the cash. Big guns, big sticks, big rash. She asked me how I got it, said I got it like that. I get it when I want it, smoking marijuana. Keep it hotter than a sauna, smoking till the sun up. They asked me if I have bands, I said bring your funds up. They tested me to a challenge, and they didn't show up. Didn't show up, I'm knocking at your door, right? Taking my
Hey, you guys, RicoKnows here. Good to see you guys today. It's Sunday. It's NFL Playoff Sunday. I wanted to get this show in before the playoffs start. So thank you guys for joining me this morning. We're going to be talking about quarterbacks. This is the third episode. If you want to see a certain quarterback, and I don't talk about him today, it's because I talked about him in another video. And I'll tell you, hey, guys, go watch episode 1 or 2. Now, it's getting a little complex. I got a lot of people, a lot of quarterbacks to talk about, and the list keeps growing in this transfer portal. You guys haven't seen me in a couple of days. It's because my database actually got corrupted, and I had to start it over from scratch. It's been a difficult one. I've been grinding, if you watch me on TikTok Live, I've been grinding about 18 hours a day on the database, building it back up. It's okay. It just happens. My backup wasn't that far behind. It was behind by about a week. I usually save it in 2 or 3 different spots, 2 or 3 different hard drives, but it happens. Redundancy is the key. You want to stay safe and go out there and keep it up, but it happens, man, and you just hang in there. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to try to stay focused on what I want to talk about today, give you guys great information, keep you informed, and then we'll go to the chat and talk to whoever's here joining us on this Sunday before the NFL playoffs start. But it is January 28th, and January 28th is a big day to me. It's a big day to me. My entire life, January 28th has mattered to me, and that's because it's my father's 62nd birthday today. Shout out to Tony Rico, man. I call him Big T, Tone the Big Bone. You call him what you want, but he's dad to me. Shout out to my pops. He, he's the father of 5 children, and one thing he did for us growing up is he taught us work ethic. He taught us drive and determination, and some people might look at me and think, oh, he's a white guy. No, my father's a Mexican guy. He's Mexican, construction worker, gardener, DJ, handyman, whatever you want to call him. He did it all and did everything great. He did everything to the best of his ability. I actually have a video on YouTube dedicated to him. It's my promotion. When I got promoted to Master Sergeant about 4 or 5 years ago in the Army, I flew him out. And you guys don't know this, but I did about 15 years in the Army without ever seeing my family, without ever seeing my father, never really involved them in any of my promotions. And at that 15-year mark, when I finally made Master Sergeant, E8, I flew my father across the globe, flew him across the country and said, you need to come be at my promotion ceremony. You've missed 7 or 8 of them. It's time for you to see this one because I made it, man. I made it. And one of those proud moments in my life, captured on tape. It's on YouTube forever. But I promise you, it's the driving force in my life to be great, to make him proud. And he's 62 years old. I want to tell you guys, he literally beat me in a half marathon about 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. He was 58, 59 years old. I'm a first sergeant in the Army. I run all the time. But he was training for this half marathon. I wasn't. I just go out and run my 2-3 miles a day. He was training for a half marathon. We went out and did this half marathon. And within the first 2 or 3 miles, it's 13.1 miles, first 2 or 3 miles, I knew, oh, man, I'm not keeping this pace for the next hour. This guy's nuts. And he beat me by a solid 10 or 20 minutes or so. He beat me, and I had no shame in it. Shout out to my pops. One guy wrote to me on TikTok and said, my dad's 62 as well, but I'm only 22. Mexicans, we have our kids really young. We have our kids young. My pops had 4 kids. He has 5, but he had 4 at 22. All right, divorced my mother, raised all the boys on his own. Shout out to him. Ended up, my sister eventually came to the family. But I want to tell you guys, being raised by a father who wasn't a high school graduate. He's not college educated. There's nothing there that there was no silver spoon anywhere. There was no head start. We didn't start life on third base. But if you look at us and you look at all the children that this man raised, we're all great. Straight up. Everybody's great. My sister's got a master's degree. I've got a bachelor's degree. Everybody's educated. Everybody's educated. Everybody's successful at whatever they chose to do in life. Some of us more than others, right? And we could have never dreamed that we all came from just nothing, bro. Just hard work and determination. I think I learned at about 9 years old that I don't ever want to be a construction worker. Shout out to my pops. He taught me maybe I need to do my homework. He taught me maybe I need to learn about computers. Maybe I need to become a cyber expert, because he took me to work one day and it was 100 degrees at 7 a.m. And I thought, I never want to do this. This is miserable. As we're sitting there shooting in baseboard with a nail gun and a compressor. So shout out to Pops, man. He taught me a lot, put me in sports at a young age. It's how I became a tri-sport athlete in high school. It's how I got my drive and determination to work hard. You become that self-driven individual. No one ever had to push me. No one ever had to tell me to work out, lift weights, run. I just looked in the mirror and said, I want to be better. Right? It all was derived from that very first time my father went out there and introduced me to athletics. He was my first basketball coach. He was my and I don't even play I play basketball, but I don't play it like that. I wasn't a D1 caliber athlete by any means in basketball. But it's just been neat that my father was there for every step of the way. So shout out to those of you who have dads. Those of you who look up to your fathers. You're talking to highly successful people, and I look up to my father like you wouldn't believe. So 62, I woke up this morning, the first thing on my mind was my dad. So sorry for that long rant, just talking and going, but I ain't sorry. Sorry, but not sorry. That's my pops for you. That's 10 minutes on that. Let's go. All right, so we're going to talk about the show. It's pretty simple, man. The transfer portal's popping, and you guys haven't seen me in a while, and a lot has happened since then. I want to tell you the reason you haven't seen me, though, besides the database, is I'm waiting on YouTube. I have reapplied. You see it here. My application is under review. I have reapplied to get my monetization turned back on at YouTube. They need to wake up and turn me back on. They've turned me off. Since then, I've transitioned over. I'm on Twitter right now. My profile, I have 3,100 followers on Twitter, 3,100 and counting. My goal is 100 a day. I'm a little bit ahead of schedule. I wanted to be at 3,100 by January 31st. We're on the 28th. So I'm ahead by a couple of days. I'll take it. Let's keep it going. I hope to have 30,000 by the end of the first year, and we'll keep growing from there. This is a grassroots organization. A lot of people try me on Twitter. They don't know who I am. They're like, who's this guy? He doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm making top 10 lists every day. These guys don't know what I'm doing. I'm RicoKnows, bro. I'm not afraid of it. Hey, bring it. Everybody will get punked. It's real. So I am getting myself together, and I'll be on YouTube here shortly posting, so you'll have to watch a commercial before you watch the shows. I wish people understood that, but it's part of the process. Is how you do this for a living. Now, we're looking at the transfer portal. I want to be very clear. I don't like 24/7 any more than On3. I don't like On3 any more than Rivals. But when you concatenate or combine all three websites, you get me. Okay. I don't just look at these three websites for the answers. I never believe what they have on their digital screen as fact. I have to go triple, quadruple check things to make sure it's accurate and factual. There are so many errors on these websites, it's gross. You need to be careful. You might read the website and think it's real, just like this one here, Jaden delara going to Texas State. That's not true. We all know this. Jaden delara is not going to Texas State. He already withdrew. He already left school. And you go down the list and you will find errors like that everywhere. Now, look at that. Gunnar Gundy, he's not going to Ohio. He's back in the transfer portal. If you don't study the transfer portal every day and you only come to these websites, you will find errors like that. In one screenshot, I just found two, right? And just scrolling down. It's embarrassing. I don't know who runs their websites. The only reason I use them is for their pictures, period. Okay, their pictures. None of the information is fact. I don't get down like that. I don't agree with their rankings in the slightest. So please don't hold me to the ranking order that they're in. It's just not who I am. Okay. What I'll tell you guys is now that as I go through this, I had to make my database color coordinated, which is different. And it's in front of me as I talk to you. I don't have to read it to know who I'm talking about or anything like that. It's just to remind me who I've talked about in previous episodes. For example, we're going down here. We are looking at the enrolled quarterbacks list. I'm going to go through 10 guys and pause. I'm going to talk about 10 players, and once I do, I will then transition to the chat, answer your guys' questions. When you're doing chat and you're interacting with me, it's pretty simple. Talk about quarterbacks. That's the quarterback episode. I will talk about quarterbacks. That's the reality of the situation. Please, nothing else. Now, if I refer you to go to a different episode, it's because we already talked about that quarterback in depth, answered all the questions. Go watch it on episode 1 or 2. You should be watching every single episode of every position group to learn about the transfer portal. Thank you for being here. Shout out to TikTok. You guys watch. I don't interact with TikTok. If you got a question, you need to take yourself over to YouTube and drop it in the chat. I will answer your question. Cool. All right. So we're sitting here. We're looking at this. There are 3 different settings on 24/7 Sports. You can look at who is committed, who is enrolled, and who is uncommitted. The biggest deal with this is committed is just a verbal commitment. And in the transfer portal, you can give a verbal commitment and change your mind. You have every prerogative to do that. You have not signed a national letter of intent. All you have said to the school or the coaching staff is, I intend to attend classes at your school. I will enroll at your school before the start of the next semester. And this is why you see so many flips in the transfer portal is no team cares. No team cares that you verbally committed to a school. They will still flip you. They will still talk to you and still recruit you and try to get you to their school if they feel they still have a fighting chance. I've seen players in the transfer portal verbally commit and still go on more recruiting trips. They're going to go on more trips. I don't blame them. Guys, this is dating. This is the dating apps. This is dating apps. You take a girl out to dinner. Are you with her now forever? You tell her you want to be with her. You with her now forever? You can change your mind and break up with her in a heartbeat. No one cares. She might be heartbroken about it. Her family might not be the biggest fan, right? Just like fans might not like you. But who cares? Keep it moving and get your next relationship, the one you want. Until you're married and sign on the dotted line, you can stick and move all you want. Why can't these players keep moving like that? Coaches are doing it. Let me tell you, these coaches are doing it. I was contacted by a insider, if you will, and he let me know, hey, Rico, the reason Sean Lewis was in the doghouse with Coach Prime at Colorado, the real reason he wasn't allowed to call plays is they found out he was interviewing for coaching positions while still in the position during the season. I don't know how true that is. I like the source. I trust the source. But holy smokes. That's cheating, bruh. You got to go sleep on the couch till we find you a new spot. Now, if you're cheating on me, you don't get to live here because I own everything. The house, the car, the couch, the life. This is what I do. It's self-preservation. I'm just saying these players are doing what they do. They ain't married to it. They ain't married to the game. They can do as they please. So the first player on this list that I have not talked about, if I'm being clear, I'm going to look at my chart here. Malik Murphy, Brock Vandergriff were both in episode 2. Will Rogers was in episode 1. So if you want to learn about them, go to those other episodes. DJ Ungalele, have not talked about him yet. It's been that long because I do a video and then I wait and I go do a different position group. And by the time I come back around, a lot has happened in that particular position group. So yes, this is going to be a new one I'll talk about. DJ Ungalele, initially going to Clemson. Remember, coming out of high school, playing at St. John Bosco, DJU was the number 2 quarterback coming out of high school. Number 1, Bryce Young, playing at Mater Dei. Number 2, DJ Ungalele, playing at St. John Bosco. And then number 3, Rancho Cucamonga's finest, CJ Stroud. So according to the websites, they got to keep ranking DJ Ungalele this high because he has pro traits and they believe in him. I don't know why he's only one spot ahead of dudes like Nate Johnson or Curtis Rourke. Like, Nate Johnson can't play quarterback. He won't be the starting quarterback this year at Vanderbilt, yet he's right here. They gave him an extra star as a transfer. They made him 4 stars. This is not a good quarterback. I think these are good quarterbacks. DJ Ungalele is probably better than Malik Murphy right now. If they were on the same team, DJ Ungalele starting over him. So how is this working? I'll never know. Enough of that. Let's just talk about DJU as a person. Going to Clemson, what we recognize now is, yeah, he wasn't the problem at Clemson. Clemson's got quarterback problems all the way around, offensive problems all the way around. Once they lost Tony Elliott as an offensive coordinator, no quarterbacks could succeed at Clemson. Shout out to Clay Klubnik, not succeeding this year or last year. It happens. Now, he goes to Oregon State, and at Oregon State, if I read my notes correctly here, he had a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I think it was 27 and 3, 21 and 3, 21 and 3, 21 and 7. I'm sorry, 21 and 7 touchdowns and interceptions, 3-to-1. It's not great. It's not terrible either, though. And DJ Ungalele is not a terrible quarterback. Now, when you're throwing at Oregon State, you have a stacked box because they're trying to stop the run. So you have one-on-one options on the outside. Silas Bolden's out there. Shout out to Victor Bolden's little brother. You have other good receivers, but all man-on-man coverage, singular coverage, because the box is stacked to stop Damian Martinez and the boys. So DJ Uiagalelei had the best opportunity this year to succeed in the Pac-12, and he didn't take that step forward that I anticipated. He didn't look that great. Another thing, why didn't he follow his coach to Michigan State? Why didn't you follow the quarterback developer? You went to Oregon State to get developed to be a quarterback. That's what you told everybody. That's what your father told everybody, right? And I just don't see it. Big Dave lied. Everybody lied. This is a money grab. Going to Florida State. Florida State quarterbacks tend to struggle unless they have a great advantage at wide receiver. They had so many great advantages at wide receiver this past year, it kind of makes people overestimate the Florida State job. That's real. Jordan Travis played so great because his receivers were, by and large, some of the best you'll ever see. Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson. We're talking about size. Right? Jaheim Bell transferring in from South Carolina. We're talking about mismatches all over the field. And Trey Benson at running back keeping the box heavy. That is not going to happen next year at Florida State. They don't have those advantages in the skill positions. Excuse me. And I don't necessarily know if DJ Uiagalelei is that type of player. Is he really him? Haven't seen it ever. Is it warranted? The rankings, all this. He has pro traits. Got to believe in him at some point, but not today. Not for me. I'm not excited about this move. He's much better. Let me just be clear. He is much better than any quarterback they had on the roster. He's much better than any option they were going to find with what's left. And I'm sure they're happy to have him, as many Florida State fans are. But to say he's in this upper echelon, ranked in the top 10 of transfer portal quarterbacks, I don't see it, guys. Not production-wise. I don't see it at all. I've never seen him take that step forward. So if he does it this year, that would be news to me. That would be really significant news to me. I'm not moved by that. It's a decent move. It's fine. I feel like they probably paid a pretty penny for him. I don't know if they could have had a better option, but at the end of the day, I don't see DJ Uiagalelei. I'm getting messages. He's going to win the Heisman. They're going to go undefeated. Like, just stop, bro. Just stop. They don't have it. Not like you're thinking. And they lose a lot of NFL talent on the defensive side of the ball as well, but that's a whole nother issue. We're just here to talk about quarterbacks. Nate Johnson, episode 2, Rourke 2, and now we're at Jaden delara. Jaden delara is going to get a shot somewhere, guys. And I know students are protesting. It's a terrible thing. I deep dive on this on a TikTok video if you guys watched it. If you didn't watch it, I'll break it down for you. Jaden delara in high school, 18 years old or 17 years old. He was a minor. In high school, him and a buddy named Latu, who's also a starting safety at Wisconsin right now. Anyways, so Latu and delara, they're at school. They're being juveniles. They're doing what kids do, trying to get hooked up, trying to get laid, whatever they're doing. So a girl wants to give them a lay. Now, there was some confusion on TikTok what that means. A lay is the flowers around your neck, not she wanted to get laid, okay? So she wanted to lay the players and give them their lay. It's a traditional thing. But the security at Aloha Stadium where they were playing the game, this was in October, security said, no, you can't do that. You got to go to the high school to see the players. And you got to go wait for them at the high school, St. Louis High School. And so the little girl, the minor, she left with her mom and a friend in the car. And as they were leaving, they got a text from Jaden delara. And Jaden delara said, hey, come back, meet me in the stairwell on the second floor of the parking garage. So she said, okay, I'll go back. So they make a U-turn, go back to the parking garage. And sure enough, and this is all according to the Hawaii News Now website and their copy of the affidavit from the juvenile trial, by the way. Just so we're clear, I'm not making any of this up. The references are there. The sources are there. This is in my TikTok video. They go back. Mom stays in the car with the friend. Young girl gets out, goes to the stairwell, and immediately Jaden delara propositions her to perform oral sex on Latu. He forces her head down. He's forcefully shoving her head into his lap, and she's gagging and crying. And eventually, this young man ejaculates in her mouth. At the same time, Jaden delara is behind her, and he has decided to penetrate her simultaneously from behind. Obviously not wanting this to occur. This is sexual assault. At some point, after Latu finishes in her mouth, Jaden delara says, my turn, out loud, audibly. and then he proceeds to sleep with the young girl. The young girl claims to have gone back to the vehicle, told her mom and the friend, and they were upset that this occurred, and they went to the police about 6 weeks later. They went to the police after the football season. So they allowed the football season to continue, all that, and they went in December sometime. And some people have some problems with that. Why did you wait? You know, the questions are there. What were you doing? If this was a crime and you wanted it stopped and you wanted to go, let's go. But all three people involved were minors. All of it is he said, she said, or hearsay. And it's really argumentative in this regard. So they're trying to figure out what happened. Does she just regret the threesome that everybody bragged about at school? Things of this nature. Nonetheless, they went to juvenile court. The two young men pled guilty to second degree, some type of misconduct sexually. The only ramifications that we can see, of course, the court case is sealed. It's between minors. No one's going to talk about it. No one's going to open it up. All you know is there was a guilty plea, and the two athletes had to write an apology letter to the young girl. Okay? That was it. An apology letter, and then they all went off their own separate ways, and everything was fine until the family of the victim decided to sue the school district. They wanted to sue the school district because they didn't provide adequate security. They wanted to sue the families of Delara and Latu, and then they sued the individual players themselves. So once you sue the families, the players, and the school, there was a finding, and there was an agreed-upon settlement. This was reported in March of 2023. That settlement was agreed upon, and everybody went about their merry way, and everybody thought, well, Jaden delara is going to go and just continue to play football. Mind you, the entire time this occurred, this man's playing college football. Jaden delara is playing college football. Latu's playing college football. Everybody's playing college football. The universities knew about it. No one got suspended. No one pulled him off the field. No one had issue with it. Now, the schools say they didn't find out till later. They didn't find out till this court document and this court document. But the ramifications of finding out, what are the ramifications? There's nothing. So, with that, delara, they go out and they settle out of court. And then the victim's family goes to court and asks to vacate the agreement. They said, no, we agreed to too small of an amount. The attorneys and the victim's family went there and said, we want more money. These guys make more money. They should have to pay more money. We just found out they got NIL deals. They've made over $100,000 in NIL. We would like some more money. Now you feel like a money grab. Now this feels like a problem. It's at this point the judge agrees that they deserve more money. She deserves more money and throws out the initial agreement. And 8 days prior to signing with Texas State, Jaden delara finally agreed to the new settlement out of court. Now, G.J. Kinney apparently never studied this. G.J. Kinney never went in and did his due diligence or his D&D. G.J. Kinney just sent this man an offer and said, we're good to go. When the school newspaper called him and said, hey, why did you sign this guy? And G.J. Kinney said, well, he never was found guilty of any crime. He never admitted to any guilt. He just agreed to settle the case out of court. And the dollar amounts are all, what is the word? Confidential. There's a non-disclosure agreement. No one can talk about it. But here's what I'll say. I went to Hawaii websites, and I started looking at their courthouses. And there's different courthouses. There's the circuit court, and there's the district court. And when you do a civil case in the district court, which is the smaller court, if you do it in the district court, it is less than $40,000. It is actually $1,000 to $40,000 or $10,000 to $40,000, something like that. It's bracketed. But if you go above $40,000 in damages, then you have to go to the circuit court. Well, this was filed in the circuit court. So it's over $40,000 that the victim wants or is getting or got. But it's unfortunate for G.J. Kinney as the head coach of Texas State to not know this, to claim the kid was never, he said, well, he was never guilty. Yes, he was. If you go to the civil case, juvenile case is closed, you can't see it, records are, hidden, whatever. But if you go to the civil case, in the civil case, it references a previous admittance of guilt. to second-degree sexual assault, or sexual assault 2, the number 2. That's second degree. Come on, Coach. Just know better. Coach also said, hey, he was vetted. Vetted by who? He was vetted by people that knew him and previous coaches. He's talking about Craig Stutzman, the former offensive coordinator at Texas State, who was also the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Washington State back in 2021 when Jaden delara was there. There's a whole lot of connection there because there's a lot of players at Texas State because of Craig Stutzman. Now, you can point the blame at Craig Stutzman saying he vetted him for me. He's the reason this kid is here. Oh, by the way, Craig Stutzman doesn't work here anymore. He just moved over to be the offense coordinator at San Jose State. So, cool, Coach. Be better. G.J. Kinney, be better. I don't know if G.J. Kinney is from Art Briles' coaching tree. I believe he is. I don't want to talk loosely, but be better, bro. There's no need for this. You don't need to go and sacrifice your own morals or character, but what you should do is be much more versed on the case, the ramifications of signing a player like this, and you need to be prepared for those questions as a head coach, as the CEO of a program. You need to be more prepared. I did research for one day and was able to find everything I was looking for in regards to this case. It's heavily covered in Hawaii. Go to the news websites, search away, and you can do it. I dug around for a day, and I looked and I left it going, why did G.J. Kinney say this? I don't think he dug around for a day. I think he asked his buddy. I think he asked his offensive coordinator, hey, is this kid any good? Is he better than the players we have on our roster? We're about to lose T.J. Finley to Western Kentucky, who, by the way, jumped in the portal the same time that Jaden delara got on there. I'm going to tell you guys something, and I'm putting this on record. I'm putting this on wax. You can record it. You can clip it. And remember this. Texas State is going to come crashing down to reality this year. Texas State is going to lose some of their star players in the spring portal. I know because I talked to them. And you guys will be like, man, Rico's guessing. Rico doesn't have any sources. Texas State will be losing their very best player in the transfer portal. That's a fact. And they're just waiting for the portal to open in April. They're gone. I know because I'm not only aware that who's jumping in the portal, I'm literally advising them on where to go. They reached out to me and said, Rico, can you please tell us what schools we should attend? And I did research for about 5 or 6 hours identifying landing spots for certain players at Texas State. Shout out to them. Shout out to G.J. Kinney. Good luck recovering, bro. You can't go into it like that. You just can't. Everybody else I talked about in episode 2 here, I'm going to get to the chat here shortly. You guys hang in there, except for Gavin Franks leaving New Mexico State, going to Virginia. Gavin Franks, an East Coast kid. Where is he originally from? He's from Virginia. Oh, no, he's from Oklahoma. Norman High School. Norman, Oklahoma. Big kid, 6'4", 220. Just redshirted this year at New Mexico State. There was no point in playing. Remember, him and Diego Pavia in 2022, they were splitting time as starters. He actually got to start, I want to say, he played in 11 games. But he threw 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He looked not good. Good enough, but not good. You're playing as a true freshman. You're good enough. He just didn't look ready. So you're going to Virginia. Virginia's loaded at quarterback. They have Tony Muskett. Anthony Colandrea, true freshman, just was fighting for the starting job this year, will be the starter. So Gavin Franks is going to be a backup. He has 3 years of eligibility left. This is a kid who's highly academic, could have went to Princeton. Instead, he went to New Mexico State, which is really weird to me. More power to him. But when you read his interviews and why he chose Virginia, it'll blow your mind. He said he was looking for a head coach that was a Christian. That's right. I was looking for a head coach that's a Christian faith. That's it. That's the only prerequisite he was looking for. Like, that's crazy to me, bro. I haven't heard talk like that since the kicker last year. There was a kicker from South Florida, and he transferred to Notre Dame, and he said the same thing. I'm following Christ, blah. I'm something. More power to him. But that one kind of surprised me. Shout out to him. Kayla Sharon, I believe I didn't know he was here. They just moved him to the enrolled list. That's not cool because he wasn't here before. That's an addition today. Kayla leaving Kentucky, going to UT Martin. Hey, UT Martin's got to be excited to get a kid from Kentucky, but he never could play at Kentucky. he had no business going there. So congratulations to them. Going to get a guy from a Power 5 school. It's got to be exciting for an FCS program to get one. Dexter Williams talked about him on episode 2. Evan Williams, episode 2. Let's go to Zevi, and then we'll do Zach. We don't even have to talk Gunner Gundy. He's not in school, so I'm only talking about enrolled players or committed players today for the most part. We'll go to Zevi. Zevi Ekus, this guy leaving Bryant, if you don't know, and he's going to Washington State. So I didn't know him. I know of players at the FCS level. I don't watch the FCS games all that much, and when I do, it's the playoffs or it's for an NFL prospect. And I think I looked at Bryant last year on the defensive side of the ball. They had a linebacker transferring to Buffalo. It was Joe something with a T. He has a ton of tackles. He went to Buffalo to pair up with Shane Dolak. But nonetheless, so I turned on the tape for Bryant, and I only looked at the defensive side of the ball. I'm looking for a linebacker. Never once watched an offensive play, just skipping that and going straight to the defense. Well, I turn on the tape to see this Zevi guy going to Washington State. And Zevi is from Culver City, California, 6'1", 205. Balled out in high school. I don't know what's going on. 3-star stud, if you wouldn't believe. Played in the Ocean League, California. High school tape looks elite. Was initially committed to Jacksonville State this offseason. Going to go play for Rich Rodriguez. Then he flipped to go to Washington State. Now, was that the right thing to do, to flip? I don't know. You want a chance to play Power 5 football or Power 4 football, more power to you. But playing for Rich Rod at Jacksonville State, that's a winning program. They got a winning attitude and a winning formula. But he decided, nah, bruh, I'm going to go over here. So playing at Bryant, Big South, Offensive Player of the Year, finalist for the Walton Payton Award. I'm telling you, 28 touchdowns last season. One of the most just stat-producing quarterbacks in the country. 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's your 4-1. That's a little better than 3-1, right? That's better than DJU. Taking care of the ball. Over 62% completion percentage. One of the leaders in yards, touchdowns, everything he did at the FCS level. Very impressive. We're talking about 75, I think it's 75 career touchdowns going into this. Like, it's just nuts. I thought he was great. I actually thought he should have been starting at Buffalo next year. Let me just say that. I thought he should have been the starting quarterback at Buffalo, and they blew it. I think Gunner Gundy should be going to Buffalo. Buffalo needs a quarterback, just so we're all clear. And this kid, everybody's like, where's Bryant University? It's on Rhode Island, if you didn't know. But more power to him. I thought he was great on tape. Looks like a baller to me. So John Mater is there at Washington State. They got a guy, not Chubba Purdy, Evans Chubba. But Mater's good. John Mater's good. We'll figure out who's the starter. I think Zevi's the starter, guys. I think Zevi's good. He's got 1 year of eligibility left, and he's going to go. Speaking of starters, Zach Gibson, not starting at Georgia Tech anymore, obviously. Georgia Tech went and found a baller in Haynes King. They were competing for the starting job. Zach Gibson and Haynes King last offseason. It didn't work out, obviously. Zach Gibson lost that, and Haynes King played the whole season and never gave up a spot on the roster. It was nuts. But this is a kid back in 2018, Zach Gibson. He's a Georgia kid. He's from Johns Creek, Georgia. Was committed to Chattanooga. Then he went to Akron. Played up at Akron. He was a starter at Akron. It was fine. And then I think he transferred to Georgia Tech. Now he's going to Georgia State. Georgia State had a great year this year for the first 6 games. And then things kind of fell off. Wheels fell off. Darren Granger's a hell of a quarterback. Marcus Carroll's a hell of a running back. Zach Gibson's not quite that caliber. I think he's okay. But the times he started at Georgia Tech were when Jeff Sims got hurt. And he looked like a decent guy. Nothing to write home about. I don't think he belongs at the Power 5 level. So I think it's a good move for him. He wanted to stay close to home. Wanted to go find a place to play. Probably should have went to Georgia State from the jump. That's what he probably should have done. Or Georgia Southern, where they throw the ball all day. I don't understand why guys aren't transferring to Georgia Southern. Dexter Williams is going to Georgia Southern. He knows what's up. Go play for Clay Helton. He throws the ball everywhere. All right, guys, I'm going to jump to the chat, then I'll get back to the list because then we got to look at these other guys. Bear with me. So let's go open up the chat and see what's up. So, chat, I have it up on the screen so you guys can see it, but I got to scroll up just to see what the old chat is, and it doesn't let me do that for you guys. So I will catch up with you guys here in a bit, what you see on the screen. Derek H. says, yo, said thank you for being here. Nick Giltner. Yo, Rico, what's up? Hey, Nick Giltner, did I not? I think I answered a comment to you on TikTok. I think I hit reply to one of your comments, man. Thanks for being here. How the hell are you playing music and not getting the hammer from YouTube? Oh, Nicholas Blystone. You can look up copyright-free music. Type in copyright-free music, hip-hop, and you'll find a bunch of music you can play that you won't get hammered for. Greatest DJ Pops, I was there. TNM Zealand. Yeah, if you guys don't know my father, I started off this show talking about my father. My father is the greatest DJ in the world. He's the greatest DJ I've known. Shout out to my pops. He was known as DJ Dynasty early on, then DJ Tony Rico Dynasty, Tony Rico's Dynasty, all this stuff. And now I think it's Rico Mix. It changes over the years. But my dad, I can remember being a kid seeing these plaques. And it said, Battle of the DJs, first place. He won Battle of the DJs in the 80s. I don't know how that works. I don't know what they did, but he was always the best. And I can remember growing up, the son of a DJ, you go to many, many parties. And there's no denying my brother and I, my twin brother and I, we are hip-hop dancers to the end. We've been able to dance our whole lives, and it's because we went to 1,000 parties, right? So you go to hundreds of these things, quinceañeras, weddings, birthday parties, events, whatever you're going to, and you're DJing. I can remember the first time my father, he was DJing at the county fair one time, and he dropped 2 songs. I remember these 2 songs vividly. One was the Humpty Dance, right? The Humpty Dance, and the other one was Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison, BBD. And he dropped these, and he had these on record, right, on wax. We would go through the record crates. He would buy 2 copies of the same record so he could make the song go longer and mix them together and do all those different fancy things DJs do. We grew up with Techniques, 1200s, just amazing. Turntables you needed, Denon CD players, everything you ever needed in life, my father had it. Now, we didn't have a lot, but his DJ equipment, he had a lot of DJ equipment. It was nice. But we learned so much about dancing, music, and everything. And I can remember getting kind of acclimated to my father as a DJ. He's the guy. He's the standard. Pops can get on the mic and talk. You see me here. I talk all day, every day. My brother talks all day, every day. It's a gift we have, the gift to communicate assertively and effectively and captivate audiences when talking. My father had this in spades, and he would be talking on the mic at a party, and he's a dude who'd be like, yo, and we used to think it was corny when we were kids, and now we just know that shit is fire. Pops would be on the mic, yo, get it, girl, get it. You know, get on the dance floor. He'd be talking to people, and I'd be like, man, why is my... They loved it. He had a certain voice, the way he carried himself, and I can remember the first time, I vividly remember, the first time I went to a school dance, and my dad wasn't the DJ. I said, what is this shit? Music wasn't getting mixed. Things were off beat. One song was this fast, this high, this loud. Another one was terrible. Homie was never on the mic. I saw a DJ with no mic. I said, what is this? This shit was wild. I started going to nightclubs. DJs are terrible. Everywhere I go, I never knew my father was the greatest DJ of all time. Now, people who know and were around for it write to me in the chat all the time. There was a guy named Manny just the other day was like, yo, Rico, your dad used to kill, and he started naming other DJs, DJ Pee-wee, DJ Tony Franco, and I'm sitting there going, yo, I remember these names vividly. They ain't on that level, bruh. Shout out to my pops, man. I know that eventually it got him to the upper echelon. I know my father he once met the Mary Jane girls, and he once met the Jackson family and Jackson 5 and all them. Shout out to Pops, man. He's great. I'm proud of him. Happy 62nd birthday. When we were in Vegas, he was like, yo, I came here with Randy Jackson. Yeah, I remember I stayed at the Luxor. He's talking to us, and we're sitting there. Me and Kim and I are like, okay, well, we're staying over here. We're doing normal shit. We ain't got it like that, bro. But it's all good. I didn't know you know I was Mexican. Definitely Mexican. Mi amo Rico. Thank you very much. You can watch my Spanish episodes. All right, Rico, I've been waiting patiently. What's the thoughts on Van Dyke to Wisconsin? Think his freshman form can be unlocked? Not necessarily. Phil Longo really underwhelms me as an offensive coordinator. At least he has in the last 2 years. Going to Wisconsin, Van Dyke, leaving Miami, going to Wisconsin. One of the things about Van Dyke is he looks like a real quarterback. That's why all the NFL scouts talk about him. That's why he'll show up on mock drafts. He looks like an NFL quarterback. I have yet to see him play like one. But I said the same thing about Will Levis. He's the Will Levis mold. He looks like he's supposed to look. When are you going to perform like you're supposed to perform? Now, does Wisconsin have great wide receivers? You better ask the MVPs. I told them bet on Will Paulding all day. Believe in Will Paulding. Ladder those yards in the bowl game. And he came out and balled out. So Wisconsin has some great strengths at quarterback and wide receiver. My biggest concern is Braylon Allen went pro early. You don't have the great running backs to hold the box. Did Garindo lead? Not Garindo. There's one more. Is Ches is coming back? Ches Malusi's coming back. It just feels like they might take a step back offensively, but their defense is probably going to be better next year. We'll see what happens. Good luck to Van Dyke. He looks the part. He needs to play the part. My father was identical to yours, did everything for me, introduced me to hard work, sports, and everything gave me the drive I have today, but my father passed away, so thanks for leaving. Yeah, thank you very much, Tian. Yeah, anybody who had a great father figure in their life can relate, so shout out to them. Gimp Show. I know you, man. I know you by your emblem, by your little picture. I know who you are by your picture. Just so you know, Game Recognized Game, I appreciate you for being here. I do be knowing. Thank you so much. What do you think about Washington guards to Ole Miss? I think they're not quarterbacks. That's the biggest thing. The sound on TikTok is better top. Yes, it is, Nicholas. I'm trying to figure it out. The reality is I have to use this microphone. I'm thinking about switching to a headset so the microphone's better. I will probably be doing that in the next week and see and compare it to the other ones. I understand that the TikTok has better audio. It's my cell phone that's picking it up, and it's right in my face here. I know that. But the thing that TikTok can't do is post this show for future episodes and for people to see off-duty hours, because I have a lot of people. If you notice, I don't know how many people are in the chat right now. I don't know how many people are in this live stream right now. It's going to be low numbers, right? Like 33 and 46. So a total of 70 people are watching right now. This video, this episode will have well over 1,000 views once I post it on YouTube. People watch it on their own time after hours. So it is what it is. I have to do it like this. We'll figure it out. I need to buy a new mic. I need to get a Shure mic with a boom mic in the stand. I will get around to it. It's just investing in my podcast took a back seat to the football season, to be real. Took a back seat to Patreon and gambling because I have to do what's revenue generating, right? It's just like I talked about with the high school film reviews I do. That's more revenue generating than making a TikTok video talking about the newest thing in sports. Let's be very clear. I'm making a lot more bang for my buck when doing a high school film review versus talking about the NFL. Rico, when's your NFL draft content going to come out? Let me tell you, when they start paying me the way the high school film reviews are paying me. That's real talk. Got to do what the people want. Got to do what you're paid for. It's important. Do you think quarterbacks now are not actually as concerned about being developed as they say they are? 100%, Ronan. 100%. I don't think any quarterback is concerned about being developed. You might find, I shouldn't say any, you might find a handful across the whole country. The vast majority of quarterbacks want to play. That's it. They want to play. They want to be on the field and play. Every team's got a quarterback's coach. Every team's got an offensive coordinator. That's good enough for them. Where can I play? I need to know now. Where can I play? That's it. Why are dudes committing to Akron? Have you seen Akron? Have they developed any quarterbacks? Who's committing to Akron? Ben Finley just left Cal. He went from NC State to Cal to Akron. You think he gives a shit about development? No. He just wants to get on the field, get some tape. He don't care about a degree. He just left Cal. You just left Cal Berkeley. He don't even care about a degree. He don't care about development, degree. He wants playing time. Akron. Insane. It's RicoKnows, baby. What up, Mike Schmidt? DJU won't get FSU over the hump, and that's a personal opinion. So, Zion, I don't know what hump you're talking about. What hump are you talking about? Florida State wasn't relevant for 10 years. They're now in the top 5. They're now in the top 10. They're as relevant as they've been. What hump? What more we got to now? Now they need to win a national title. Only 4 schools are winning national titles. I think it's ridiculous to hold them to that standard. They're over the hump. They won the ACC. That's the hump. Get over the Clemson hump. The only team you had to beat was Clemson. Win the ACC. They did that. They're good. There's no other hump. Winning a national title is nice. You're not going to buy a national title. You're not getting there. It takes time. It takes a whole lot of different circumstances and some luck. You got to stay healthy all season. You got to get the right matchup in the playoffs. There's a whole lot into getting a national championship. It is not a hump you get over. That's not how it works. Georgia got over the hump and won back-to-back titles? No. They became relevant. They became good. And a little bit of luck and a whole lot of good players, and you eventually win a national title. Then you don't win the national title. Are you magically not over the hump anymore? No. Just luck didn't bounce your way that time. It's the reality. Delara does not deserve a chance to play football anywhere. What a disturbing story. Yeah, Mike Schmidt, we don't know the truth. Those are all the stories that have been. Delara's attorneys have refused to talk publicly about it, and so has Delara. We don't know the truth, though. Only 3 people know the truth. Those 3 in the stairwell. There's 2 sides to every story. There's a reason they're not in jail. Is it money-driven? I don't know. But when you go to court, as a civilized society, we got to trust court systems to, impose law and punishment and accountability. I can't sit here and vilify the kid. People make mistakes as children. People make terrible mistakes as children. I used to go to school every day. I'll never forget it, bro. I was in high school. There was these girls on the volleyball team. I used to grab their ass every day. Every day. Didn't matter. They laughed and giggled about it. They would sit on my lap. They were cool with it. I was a star football player. I could do whatever I wanted to do. Today, that's sexual assault. But back then, it was just flirting, man. It's just the way it is. I'm imagining these high school kids carry themselves much the same way. We're not perfect. I don't judge a child for doing what they do, teenagers for doing what they do. The story is horrific when you hear the details of it. But I'd imagine it's happening everywhere. Now, the reason I'm not too upset about it, or I'm not like up in arms about it, is because Deshaun Watson plays in the NFL. Straight up. Ben Roethlisberger plays in the NFL, or played in the NFL, and will be in the Hall of Fame. Like, there are professionals doing the same shit. There are athletes all over the country doing the same thing. It's when you play victim, you do it, man. And you do it well. And if you are a victim of a crime, then let's get criminal punishment involved. And don't make it look like a money grab after you didn't like your payout. That's real talk. If your daughter's a victim, let's get some people in jail. If they're not in jail, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be the judge and the jury? Am I supposed to be like, well, he should have been in jail. I'm not okay with him. It doesn't work that way. You can't just go through society like that. You have to let the courts do what they do and live with the results. Casey Anthony's walking around right now, bruh. Casey Anthony is on a dating app right now. You might think she killed her child. Doesn't matter. You go have lunch with OJ right now. No trays involved. Just letting you know. It's court, man. GJ Kinney deserves the collapse for signing. Yeah. Calm down with the R word there. So Mahdi is hitting the portal, confirmed. Mike Schmidt. Thoughts on Ben Guthrie, a quarterback from Alpharetta, who's currently one of Georgia Tech's quarterbacks. Yeah, he's going to have to transfer. And he's going to have to transfer Clayton Smith because Aaron Philo is there. Aaron Philo's better than Ben Guthrie. Point blank and period. Shout out to him. No, not Ben Guthrie's fault. Aaron Philo is him. Shout out to Pacific Avenue Christian. Prince Avenue Christian. I said Pacific. Pack. Has Matthew Sluka signed yet? So everybody, remember, I just went over this list on the previous screen. Everyone that I talked about is already in school. So they're in school and they're enrolled. Everybody else is just agreeing to enroll at the start of the semester. Semester's supposed to be starting here. It's January 28th. All semesters have started. I'd imagine he's there. There is nothing to sign. When you're in the transfer portal, there's really nothing to sign outside of you start enrolling for classes at that school. So has Matthew Sluka enrolled in classes at UNLV? I don't know. I'd assume so. It's January 28th. You have to enroll by the drop-by date, which means if you don't show up to class by a specific date, you're dropped because you can't mathematically pass the class. You've missed too many assignments. It's usually about 2 weeks into the semester, though. Like, you can miss the whole first week and still pass the class. So that's not a drop-by date. There's a date where mathematically, if you didn't show up, you get dropped, just so you know. How do you enter the waiting list for review? Leon, go to TikTok and watch the pinned video. There's a pinned video explaining how to get on the waiting list. There's 2 ways to get on, Cash App and Venmo. Shout out to Pops. Shout out to you, 612. Appreciate you. What up, Rico? What up, Just Jenny? Charlie Fry. Charlie Fry did not go. Hey, Charlie Fry's a hell of a coach. Where's Charlie coaching right now? Charlie's coaching somewhere, and it's somewhere good. Is it not Clemson? Where's Charlie? Charlie Fry. Where's he coaching? It'll come up right now. You guys can't see this. I'm doing my research over here. Charlie Fry is currently is he at Akron? No, he's at FAU. He went to Akron. I know that, but he's at FAU. He's the offensive coordinator. He just left Penn State. Hey, FAU offensive coordinator Charlie Fry. What a stud. What an Akron legend. Shout out to you for knowing that. I appreciate you. Are there any quarterbacks who are in the transfer portal who are locker room poisons? Misspelled poisons, but I feel you. Clayton Smith. Are there any quarterbacks that are locker room poisons? The only way I would label a player a locker room poison is verified character concerns. So let's go back to the list. Let's look at, and usually I do this after, I think I do this in the summer. After a while, after nobody's signed to a team, we're going to look at uncommitted quarterbacks here, and we're going to look for locker room poison. Locker room poisons. Obviously, Jaden delara has character concerns. I would be concerned about a lot of these other. William Haskell. I wouldn't sign him. 3-star. He used to be a 4-star. Leaving Washington. He's not leaving Washington. He got kicked. He quit on San Diego State mid-season just because they benched him. Coaches benched him. He wouldn't listen to coaches. He wasn't doing what they were saying at practice. They benched him. Eventually, he made it. I don't think he's good for your locker room. Micah Bowens. I've given up on Micah Bowens. Congratulations. Shout out to him. Initially went to Penn State. Couldn't start. Transferred to Oklahoma. Couldn't start. Now he goes to Charlotte. Couldn't start. I don't know how good he is. He does have his degree. He's a graduate transfer. He has 2 years of eligibility left. But it's not somebody I would put on my team. Joey Yellen does not belong on anybody's team. That's a locker room cancer. Get him out of here. William Haskell, Joey Yellen, wouldn't want him on my team. I think Joey's been arrested, by the way. I'm not a fan of Stone Hollenbeck. I think, and it's not him personally, I think it's his father, but he's been getting the wrong guidance. This is a young man that probably doesn't belong at the FBS level, but his parents have convinced him. He's from PA, right? He's a walk-on at Alabama. And when you go look at this kid, he went to a Penn State camp. He walked on at Alabama. Dude, you can't play at any of these schools. Why'd you walk on to Alabama? Somebody lied to you? Who convinced you should walk on? And then he went to Western Michigan last year. He couldn't start at Western Michigan. I think he was third string. He's not like that, man. So I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. Sherwood's available. Gundy. Oh, Jeff George's son. Jaden George, not a bad guy. He's just available. Yeah, there's not too many. And Luke actually isn't available. I already talked to Luke on my TikTok. Luke's at Last Chance U. They got 2 quarterbacks there. So Luke just left. He was a late signee with Coastal Carolina. He's coming out of Florida. Where's he coming from, Florida? Tampa area. Where's he from? Yeah, Tampa. Wharton. So he signed. He followed his former head coach that used to be at, let me see. I don't think they don't have it. So Travis Trickett was the head coach, right? At South Florida 2 years ago. Moved over to be the offensive coordinator at Coastal Carolina, and he brought this young man with him, Luke Sather, but he didn't play him. 1 year, and then they let him walk, and now he's at a junior college. Shout out to Luke. Hope he does his best. But, yeah, there's only about 2 guys I wouldn't sign. The rest, you don't sign them because they're not better than the people in your quarterback room for the most part. A lot of these guys are going to die in the portal. Like all these guys you see here, not getting re-signed. They don't know it yet. They don't realize it. They think they're going to get an opportunity, and they're not. This is why they shouldn't have jumped in the portal. They did their teams a favor by freeing up their spot on the roster. Now they can go get whoever they want. That's what a lot of these guys are going to come to realize. A lot of these guys are going to be stuck in the portal. It's the reality situation. Yeah, I wouldn't sign Joey Yellen. I wouldn't sign William Haskell, personally. Wouldn't sign him. Good question, I guess. Good question, I guess, right? We're going to be looking at committed players here in a bit. Going down the list, but let's get back to the chat. I'm here. How do we enter? Boom, boom, boom. Thoughts on Zion Turner to Jackson State? So Zion Turner is a backup option for them. Obviously, they wanted to get Zevi Eckhouse, but they had to but they had to go and get Zion instead because Zevi flipped to Washington State. Zion's a good player. He's a dual threat quarterback. That's what they need. Anything to ensure that they have better quarterbacks than what they're currently going into the season with. Let me be clear. Okay? They've got some bad ones on the bench there at Jacksonville State. We've watched them every single week. We know who they are. They're not good. Thoughts on DDP versus Strickland? I picked DDP to win the fight. I told the MVPs to bet on it. We got it right. I ain't mad about a damn thing. It looks good. Anyone who thinks Strickland won that fight is really boring, and I can't stand you. Strickland's not a good fighter. What up, Reek? What up, E-Money? Shout out to E-Money. Do you give a shit about any of these games today? Not at all. I probably won't be watching them. I'll probably be on live doing something else. I don't watch NFL games. I don't really care about them personally. The only time I ever watch them here at the house is when Kim, she'll live stream them to the TV because she watches NFL more than me. She'll let me know when the game's on. I don't really know. It really doesn't cross my mind. Malachi Singleton, thoughts? He's not a quarterback. Thoughts on Ohio State quarterback room right now? Looks stacked and looks like some guys need to leave. At least 2 need to transfer out and go somewhere else. They signed Will Howard in the portal, and they signed 2 of the top 10 quarterbacks in 2024 class. Yeah, Ryan Dupree. I mean, I know who they signed. I know what they got. I don't believe in rankings. I don't believe in recruiting rankings the way they have them. So I don't necessarily know if Aaron Nolan's top 10 or Julian Sain's top 10. I don't know any of that stuff. I assess film, and neither one of those players have film at the collegiate level. So congratulations. You got yourself some recruits. You got some guys in the room. Lincoln Kineholz is still there holding over. Devin Brown. But I'm not moved by any of them. I think they all need to get down, learn their new offensive coordinator, understand what's going on, and then the cream will rise to the top, and whoever doesn't start will leave. I think we need to look at Minnesota, Kansas State. They're going to be interested in who's departing from this school because I'm telling you right now, Kansas State, Avery Johnson can't throw the football. I've looked at it enough to know. I just don't care about recruiting rankings, just so we're clear. And I have never really been impressed with Aaron Nolan. Aaron Nolan has the same issue that I've had with Bryce Young and anybody else, which is you played with all the best players in high school. You always had the best team. We don't know how good you are. You went to camp? Cool, but we don't know how good you are. All right, you guys. Malachi Singleton is a quarterback at Arkansas now. Oh, my bad. Hey, man. Hold up. Hold up. Let me do something real quick. Tell me I'm crazy right now. Hold up. Why did I think Eric Singleton? I had to double check my notes. Eric Singleton. Yeah. Malachi Singleton. Is he better than is he better than who's the kid who just transferred in from North Carolina last offseason? The kid who came home. It's pretty good. Man, I'm drawing a blank right now. I have so many people in my mind for this year. I'll get back to them. Let me get back to the list. I'll get back to the chat. You guys hang in there. Let's get back to the show. So now we're going to look at committed players. Good question, though. Shout out to you. I'll go look at Malachi Singleton's tape here in a bit. Not. Who's the kid? Criswell? Is it Criswell? Arkansas? He's the kid. Just left North Carolina? I think it's Criswell. All right, going to go look at my chart. First guy I'm going to talk about, Julian Sain. So Julian Sain, leaving Alabama, never went to Alabama. But he's leaving Alabama. He's going to Ohio State. Congratulations. This is a kid from Carlsbad. The big thing about Julian Sain, let me tell you guys why Julian Sain's so popular. It's because he won MVP of the Elite 11 camp. That's it. He's as good as anybody else. I turn on the tape. He looks like a good quarterback. One thing he does better than others is anticipation throws. He throws before his guy's open, or he throws his guy open. I remember I knocked Clayton Tune for having difficulty with this. It's most high school quarterbacks wait till their receiver's wide open to throw it. Not Julian Sain. He knows where they're going to be. He's read the defense, and he's making a throw. And that's elite. I guess elite 11. He's not a dual-threat quarterback. He is athletic-ish, but he's not dual-threat. He's only 6'1", 195 pounds, so he's little. I don't see greatest quarterback in the world on this kid. He's obviously not the best quarterback in the transfer portal. They have him up here because of his years of eligibility left, because they had him as the number 1 ranked recruit, all this stuff. But if we're talking about today, right now, we go and have tryouts, he's not in the top 10. That's real. Like, if we have tryouts with no shirts on and you don't know who the hell people are, I'm telling you right now, he's not in the top 10. Not in the top 10 in the transfer portal. He's just not. Congratulations, you got a player. You got a kid who might develop one day into a player. But I don't know. I went and looked at the tape. He looked good. His brother, Aiden Sayin, he plays at Penn. I don't think they're much different. I mean, that's just me. He played pretty good. All Ivy League, honorable mention type kid. But Julian's okay. Played really well in high school. 24 touchdowns, 1 interception. A lot of people have good stats in high school. I still think he's a good player. I just don't necessarily know why they have him as the number 1 rated player in the portal. That's just stupid. Absolutely embarrassing. You know, you're looking at a guy like Cam Ward, who's actually played this game, was about to go to the NFL this year. You're looking at guys like Will Howard, the all-time leading passer in Kansas State history. Riley Leonard can do it all. You just keep going down the list. Dylan Gabriel's 9th in the country in passing last season. 9th in the country in passing last season? Come on, man. 13 rushing touchdowns? This is a stud right here. You got him way down here. Like, it's embarrassing the way they do this. 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year. Grayson McCall. Grayson McCall is the 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year. Do you think Julian Sain could go to the Sun Belt and be the 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year? No, he couldn't. It's like they just I don't know what they do, bro. We're going to get off the soapbox. Shout out to Julian Sain. He's a good player. Good recruit. I'm excited for him to be here. I'm sure Ohio State's ecstatic to get him. Congratulations. That's about all I have to say about it. I'm still upset about some things. I just don't get it. Hold on one second. Aiden Childs, episode 2. Dante Moore, episode 2. Cam Ward, I'm going to talk about him now. Finally, straight out of Columbia High School. I've been a Cam Ward guy for about 3 years. Used to tell all you guys last offseason, Shedeur Sanders is going to be as good as Cam Ward, if not better. I knew that because I knew that FCS quarterbacks can transition to the FBS level if they're elite. And I felt he was elite. I saw his stats at UIW, 4,648 yards passing, a 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, 47 touchdowns, 10 interceptions back in 2021. So you transfer to Washington State. You have an amazing offensive coordinator back-to-back years, 2 different guys. First year, Eric Morris, now the head coach at North Texas. You see what North Texas offense does. That's what he did with Cameron Ward in 2022. Then you go to 23. Eric Morris leaves. It doesn't matter. They still pick up right where they left off, and they play well. Now, 7 games is probably the limit. 7 wins is probably his ceiling at the Power 5 level. 7 to 8 wins. We'll see what he does in Miami. But we're talking about a kid who's put up over 3,700 yards last year. Or, yeah, was it 3,700 yards? His first year. 22-9 this last year. 22-9 touchdown to interception ratio. I really like Cam Ward. I think he's a good player. I think your biggest problem is you're losing Colby Young at wide receiver. He just went to Georgia. You're in a Mario Cristobal atmosphere, locker room, and Mario Cristobal does not forge the greatest teams. Like they're all hired mercenaries. They don't know each other like that. They don't get down like that. So it's really hard to. You guys ever seen a coach yelling at a player? You ever seen a coach like digging into a player? Like, you're going to do this, you messed up. We see it all the time with Nick Saban, or at least we used to. You'll see it with certain coaches where they're fired up and they're yelling at a player. And the player is locked in, is taking the ass chewing, goes to the bench and understands they're at fault and they need to fix themselves. And then there are some players, they'll talk back. They won't listen. They'll get in an argument with the coach or look at him side eyes and get all crazy. A lot of us will label that lack of maturity, insubordinate, a cancer to the team. Let me tell you guys something. You know why you can't handle a coach yelling at you? The same reason you can't handle a stranger yelling at you. You don't know him. You don't know him. You didn't build up enough equity in that relationship to be coached hard. When you recruit a player for 2 or 3 years straight, get them in your program for the next 2 years while you develop them. They redshirt. They haven't seen the field yet. They're developing. Then they finally get on the field as a junior and a senior. Now you've known them for 5 years. Now you have a solidified relationship, and you can rip into them and coach them hard and get them to buy into your program because you know them. But with the transfer portal, you don't have that equity built up with them. You yell at a guy, he doesn't know where you're coming from. He doesn't know that you have what's best in heart for him. He doesn't know your true intentions. He doesn't know you, and you don't know him. And that relationship erodes. So you can no longer coach these guys very hard. You can no longer get in their ass. You can no longer yell at them. And this is what Nick Saban came to realize. This is why Dabo loves his team. Because you can rip into your guys because they're like your sons. They're like your brothers. They're there for you. I learned this in the military. When you have new people join your unit, they cannot be ridiculed, chastised, and given feedback and analysis like everyone else who's known your temperament, who knows what you do. And this is why when coaches take over a position, G.J. Kinney, DeBoer, whoever gets hired somewhere, when you bring your Louis luggage, you bring a bunch of people who you have built up equity in, who can tell the rest of the locker room, yo, this is how coach gets down. Hey, don't do that, man. Coach don't play that shit. Hey, we can't be late, man. Coach ain't playing. He'll be upset with this. Like, that's what's real. And you need that. And you don't always have that, man. And it's unfortunate. I think Miami's going to struggle because they don't have any built-up equity with their guys. The coaching staff cannot coach hard. You have to coach with gloves. You have to be nice and hope they play well. And you cannot put a team together like that. You just can't. They don't want. You're not. Are you going to take a bullet for somebody you don't know? Are you going to take a bullet for somebody you've been sharing a foxhole with for the last 3 years, been working out every single day in the weight room for? They always talk about it. Hey, do more. The bravest thing you can do is do something for somebody else. Well, you're not going to do anything for anyone else when you don't know each other. So I worry about Miami in that regard. At the same time, they have Restrepo there. Restrepo is my guy. Hey, ladder his yards. Xavier Restrepo is the guy. Bet on him every week. He's going to hit his yards. And I believe in Xavier Restrepo in Miami and seeing what they do. So congratulations to Cam Ward for getting to Miami. I hope you do great things. Malachi Nelson. Malachi Nelson going to Boise State. Congratulations. Word on the street is Malachi Nelson is just not very good. That's exactly what they said. If you guys remember, spring game, he got in the spring game. He was coming off of an injury. He had surgery on his non-throwing shoulder. But he got in the spring game, and Malachi Nelson, 3 turnovers. Didn't look good. Hey, man, we don't need to play this guy. This guy sucks. So, practiced all year with USC. Coaches are not sad to see him go. They don't care. I was reading Antonio Morales. He's a USC beat writer. And he's like, dude, I think Malachi Nelson is going to also jump from Boise State. He's using them as a stepping stone to go somewhere else. He's just trying to reprove himself. Was once a 5-star, now a 4-star. This kid, he's not better than Will Howard. Why is he ranked ahead of him? He looked terrible every single day. I think he might just be a recruiting miss. I hope he plays better. Probably has the inside track to start at Boise State. Hope he plays better. 6'3", 190. They say he looks like Jordan Love, comparable to Jordan Love. Well, he don't have that long to sit on the bench and get better. He better figure it out. Congratulations to Boise State for getting a recruit of this caliber. Usually doesn't happen. They just had Sam Vidlak transfer in 2 years ago. That's the kind of caliber of recruit they get, not this. By the way, Sam Vidlak transferred to Montana and couldn't start there either. Will Howard, one of the all-time greats in Kansas State history. I kid you not. I had to go look at the record books. You know, record books. Josh Freeman, Colin Klein, Michael Bishop. He's better than all of them statistically. Skylar Thompson. I was like, what? When did Will Howard become this good? I watched him play. 6th all-time in school history in yards, total yards, all this stuff. Almost 1,000 rushing yards in his career. Will Howard's an athletic dude. I watched him break for 80 yards in a game last year at some point. I forget who it was against. But it was not good because we had bet on the other side. Forget who it was, but we didn't bet for K-State that week. And he broke for 80 yards, and everybody in the chat was like, Rico, you didn't tell us he could break for 80. I'm like, he never did. His first time ever. It happens. But he's not an actual dual-threat quarterback. He can just extend plays, kind of go forward and do his thing. A lot of people want to label him Josh Allen because he's 6'5", 240. He's got weapons. He's got running backs. Ohio State will be good this year, and I think Will Howard will be a part of the reason he is better than the quarterbacks they have on the roster. This is the reality. They looked inept at quarterback, very bad in the bowl game, not good quarterback play, and Will Howard is a good quarterback. And I'll say this about Will Howard. 0 wide receivers at K-State. No wide receivers that can take it off the top of a defense. No wide receivers that are worth mentioning on any of my draft lists or draft boards. Never once was good at wide receiver at K-State. That's their biggest problem. K-State has no team speed. And Will Howard's going to finally have some weapons. So go do it. Okay. Riley Leonard talked about him in episode 1. Austin Mack going from Washington to Alabama. Congratulations. If you guys don't know Austin Mack, 6'6", 226, right? Leaving Folsom High School in California, skipped his final year, but he's a one-year starter in high school. And I don't like one-year starters. I don't like one-year production dudes. I don't care who it is. JSN, was it Justin Jefferson? Was a one-year guy in college? There's one-year guys everywhere who like just finally get to start and then they go and do amazing. And I'm going to say this. There are success stories like Justin Jefferson. The vast majority of them don't pan out. Who's the Tennessee wide receiver from last year? Won the Biletnikoff. 1 year. Flash in the pan. Ross, wide receiver from Washington. Went to the draft and ran amazing. 1 year. Just 1 year production guys don't move me, bro. And if you were in high school, a 1 year production guy, it bothers me. But Austin Mack on tape, immaculate. Skipping the senior year of high school, reclassifying, going to Washington, knowing, hey, I'm going to back up Michael Penix Jr., no big deal, but I plan to be the starter after that. I think Austin Mack, because he's been in the coach's program, he's been in Washington's program for a year, I think he's got a head start, and people are going to be shocked. People are going to be shocked. Austin Mack will start at quarterback for Alabama someday if he doesn't leave. 70% completion percentage in high school, 40 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, over 30, almost 3,500 yards, 34.98. I like Austin Mack as a player. I think he's good. Probably would like to have seen another year of high school ball. I don't like accelerating high school players' careers. I don't. Real talk. Now, Daquan Finn, all episode 2. Everybody here is episode 2. Max Brosmer, episode 2. Van Dyke, episode 1. McCall, episode 1. And now we're at Jaden Maeva. Remember, I do 10 of these, and then I go back to the chat. Jaden Maeva, leaving UNLV, going to USC. I've been on record for telling you guys, I think it's a bad move. Yeah, eventually, he might even be the starter at USC. If not this year. But you never know. Injuries. If USC continues to miss in the transfer portal. But I thought this kid should be starting at Oregon State or Washington State. If you want to go Power 5. I think he could have started at Baylor because I think he is better than Daquan Finn, but that's a whole other story. Jaden Maeva, he got the starting job at UNLV based on an injury. That's the reality. And then he did the best of what he could. I don't think he's that great. 6'4", 220, makes mistakes. Let me tell you guys something. You throw for over 3,000 yards, people will talk about you, especially as a freshman. But in the last 4 games of last season, This young man threw 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's not good. That's 50-50, bro. That can't happen. 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in 4 games. And this isn't like the greatest competition in the world. This is the Mountain West. You threw 6 interceptions in 4 games. It was 2 interceptions, 3 games, 3 out of the last 4. 2 picks every single game. I don't know what we're doing. Before that little run, he did have 17 touchdowns. 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So it looked respectable. But I'm telling you, 11? 4. No. 9 and 5. 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I don't like his tape. I don't like the move. Congratulations, USC. Shout out to him. I think his advisor was DJ Angeleli's father, Big Dave. Just so we're all on the record here. Big Dave, take care of your marriage, bro. Your wife was cheating on you with the quarterback's coach that was helping your son. Don't act tough. Handle your home. Let's go down here. I already talked about all these other guys. Where's Damon? Did they move Damon? Hey, I don't know what that's about. Damon Williams is supposed to be here. Is he enrolled? Where is Damon Williams? Hey, this is crazy. So Damon Williams leaving. I'm going to talk about him anyway. He's leaving Arizona, going to Washington. Following his coach. Little firecracker, bro. Dual threat guy. I like everything about Damon Williams. I'm sad he's not on the screen. I don't know what they're doing. He's from Chandler, Arizona. Won a state title back in 2022. His father played corner for Michigan State. He just comes from an athletic family. Was supposed to go to Ole Miss. Ended up saying, I'm going to go to Arizona instead. But once you start seeing, Fafita be all world, like, man, I can't get that starting job. I'm out of here. And then your coach leaves, so you go to Washington. Congrats. He is small. Damon Williams, 5'9". 5'9", 175 on a good day. Sorsby's the next guy on the list. I already talked about Sorsby in a different episode. I think he's a hell of a player, by the way. First episode. And then we're on KJ Jefferson going to UCF. Shout out to KJ. KJ's got 1 year of eligibility left. He's 6'3", 250. He's a huge load. Pause. But he can play some football from Mississippi. And what I want to tell you guys about Mississippi players, and I keep this theme all the time, is they look great on tape because the opposition is terrible. They look great on tape. The opposition is so bad that you can't tell who's good and who's not. KJ Jefferson's good. I've always liked what he does. Had a bad year this year. The offense was gross. So UCF, KJ Jefferson is their consolation prize. They were trying to get Grayson McCall. They missed out on Grayson McCall, and that's why they settled on KJ Jefferson, just so we know. They do want an athletic quarterback in Gus Malzahn's offense. They do want somebody who can run around. Good for them. But you might struggle a little bit. UCF's got a hell of a schedule, and they don't look good on defense right now, at least not that I've seen. They're signing a lot of guys that are trying to help them, but I don't think they're much help, especially their linebackers. 3 of their linebackers are very underwhelming in the transfer portal. They got like some straight-up character concern dudes and stuff like that. Like, it just doesn't work for me. Next 3 dudes, all in episode 2. I'll talk about these 3 and then go back to the chat. Tate Rodemaker here, going to Southern Miss. Tate Rodemaker was supposed to be the starter for Florida State in the bowl game, decided to dip on his team. This is a kid, played at Valdosta, Georgia, at a powerhouse, perennial power or historical power is what I should say. 42 touchdowns his senior year. Stud senior year. Got him to Florida State. Congrats. High school tape looks elite. Never saw him get there. And I don't know if Florida State develops quarterbacks. I don't know. I think they find great ones in the transfer portal, but I have not seen them develop anything from the recruiting ranks to a starter. Haven't seen it. So, news to me. This young man, he did throw 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions last year, and people still shit on him. Why? Because 2 of those touchdowns were against North Alabama, and then the other 3 were in junk time. But he had 0 touchdowns against Florida in a game he started and played. He didn't throw any touchdowns. You got amazing wide receivers. You can't throw any touchdowns. Southern Miss needs help at quarterback. They do. They've gone a couple years now trying to find answers, and they ended up just saying, hey, yo, Let that guy in the back there, let that running back throw it. They really did. They were letting other people throw the football. They didn't have a quarterback. So Tate Rodemaker gives them a chance to have a real quarterback. Congratulations. Tall kid, 6'4", about 200 pounds. I think he's a good player. Just never really lived up to the hype, and we're running out of time. Real talk. Matthew Sluka, 1 year of eligibility left, going to UNLV, one of my top quarterbacks in the transfer portal. They still only gave him 3 stars. They're embarrassing. This is a young man who's rushed for over 1,200 yards the last 2 seasons, each season. You heard me right. 1,200-yard rusher, white dude, Patriot League Offensive Player of the Year. I thought he should have went to Arkansas or Nebraska or K-State because he looks like Johnny Football running that ball. And instead, he goes to UNLV. Shout out to them, the go-go offense. They got another guy, Williams, out of Campbell. It's his senior year. I think one of them has to leave after the spring. You can't play both guys, and there's only 1 season left. Sluka's the guy, though. Sluka's good. This is a great get for them. I love everything Sluka does. I have 38 rushing touchdowns on Sluka. I'm going to fact check it, but 38 rushing touchdowns, that's a lot for a quarterback. He's a true dual-threat quarterback. He's fun to watch. UNLV football is fun to watch to begin with, and Sluka's going to keep going with that. Ty Thompson, leaving Oregon, going to Tulane. Ty Thompson, 6'4", 220. Big-ass kid. Straight out of Mesquite High School in Gilbert, Arizona. Big, bulky, and he moves kind of well. But here's my problem. No Arizona schools offered him coming out of high school. None. I'm personally not sold on Ty Thompson. A lot of people are excited about Ty Thompson leaving Oregon, going to Tulane. Not sold. I've looked at the tape. I don't see it. I don't see what anybody sees in him. We'll see what happens. Congratulations. You're going to Tulane. I don't know. I'm not impressed with that one. I'm just where I'm at. And I might be in the vast minority on that. I'm going to touch on one more, and then we'll go from there. Cam Fancher just moved up. Oh, no, I already talked about Cam. My bad. Cam and Walter, episode 2. Kyle McCord, don't remember what episode he was on. Episode 1, maybe? He's not on my... Oh, no, the list just repeated. Hold on. Yep, there's Diego. Okay, so Diego's up next. Diego will be the starter at Vandy. If Diego's not starting at Vandy, something's wrong, you guys. Diego Pavia, leaving New Mexico State, going to Vandy, does not look like a normal quarterback. He's a state wrestling champion. He is short. He's a Hispanic kid. And you might think, he's not a real quarterback. 6 foot, 200 pounds. Bro, Diego is him. Diego is him, and the SEC is about to find out. Auburn found out face first. This is a man who led New Mexico State to 10 wins and beat the hell out of Auburn. And it's all Diego Pavia, bro. Diego had over 900. He had 928 yards rushing. I need you guys to understand how many yards that is rushing. And he did it against Auburn, okay? He did it against anybody who shows up. That's more rushing yards than Travion Henderson, Jarquez Hunter, Trey Benson, Jace McCown, who's the kid, McClellan out of Alabama. More rushing yards than all of them. He is the 4th leading rusher among quarterbacks. 4th leading rusher in the whole nation. That's a true dual-threat quarterback in Diego Pavia. More rushing yards than Kyron Drones. More rushing yards than Garrett Green or Byron Brown. Stud. Remember, he's following his offensive coordinator. Tim Beck just left New Mexico State, going to Vandy. Jerry Kill's there. He's an analyst of some sort. That's his old head coach. Everybody's at Vandy from New Mexico State. I'm telling you, Diego Pavia could play in the SEC. It's a great get for Vandy. I thought he was going to go. Where did I think he was going to go? UTSA? Yeah, I thought he was going to go to UTSA. I knew he wasn't going to New Mexico, the Lobos. He pissed on their logo. He did get in trouble. He was recorded pissing on the Rivals logo. This is a man who wants to scrap, bro. He wants to meet you in the parking lot. He wants to scrap. He's a state champion wrestler. He wants the beef, bro. I could see him one day fighting in the UFC. That's the type of dude he is. All right? I'm going to go to the chat, and then I'll come back to do Robbie Ashford and the rest of them. Pause. Let's go to the chat here. 1 second. Chat says, sorry, just joined. Have you talked about Clifton McDowell yet? I have not, Zach, and unfortunately, and I want to talk about him, and I can, he's not on the list today to talk about because of where 24/7 has him ranked. If I'm being real, look at all these rankings. Clifton McDowell just left Montana, and he's going to Temple. But I need you guys to look at how far you have to go down. They have him ranked below all. There he is. They have him ranked below players who've never played a down of football in their lives. It's insane because Clifton McDowell is a very good football player. Unfortunate circumstances took him to Montana. He's a good player, man. He's going to go replace EJ Warner, Kurt Warner's son. Clifton McDowell will start at Temple, and he's a good football player. Damn shame 24/7 has him ranked in the hundreds or something crazy, way down there. It's nuts. Ridiculous. They don't know him. Websites don't know him. When is your draft big board coming out? Anthony, my draft big board probably. Remember, I don't have a big board. I do a top 10 ranking, and then I do a RicoKnows ranking where I rank the guys I like the most. I don't ever do a mock draft or anything like that. I do my draft board just prior to the NFL draft. I would say prior to the NFL draft. It takes me a long time to do my analysis and to study them all while I'm doing the transfer portal. The two kind of overlap, so it's tough. The transfer portal opens April 15th again, a second time around, so I have to get it all done before April 15th to be realistic. General sports question. Do you get a chance to catch LeBron last night? Connor, I was asleep early. Kim had to get on the road. Shout out to the beautiful Kim Jones. She's actually driving right now to Virginia today. Kim had to get on the road early, so I went to bed early to help facilitate her sleep. I was exhausted. Let me be real. I went for a jog in the morning. I was exhausted from this trail run I did, and I just couldn't stay up late. I would never watch an NBA basketball game, though. Anytime Adam Silver, is that the guy's name? The guy in charge of the whole league? Yeah. If he's still in charge, I'll never watch. I don't want to watch, bro. I don't know if they're going to show up and wear dresses. I don't know what's going on. The NBA's character doesn't align with mine. That's all. Do you, bro? I'm sure they appeal to the masses, but they don't appeal to me, so I just skip it. As someone from Mississippi Delta, I wish our small towns, who a lot of times are close to each other, would combine and help the quality of our recruits. KJ Jefferson was shredding teams in 3A region. Exactly, Vibe. Shout out to you. I didn't know anybody from Mississippi was here. I watch a lot of tape, so I get sent a ton of Mississippi tape. Players from Mississippi, high school. Rico, let me know, am I D1? Am I D1? I'm watching you run past 5'5" guys. I'm watching you run past 180-pound linemen. Offensive lineman, 180 pounds. I'm not joking. I watched tape. There was a center, 5'5", 180. And then he played nose tackle. He flipped to the other side. He started both ways. It's nuts. Really, a lot of small towns, they need to combine for sure. I know. Then a bunch of kids wouldn't get to play. That's how it is in the real world. Pause on the big load is wild, Rico. KJ will suffer in the pathetic scheme Gus runs at UCF. Shout out to you, Al Green. Let's stay together, bro. Okay, back to the chat. Back to the show. Let's go back to the list. And I'll get back to you guys in a little bit here. So, Robbie Ashford. Talk about somebody out of touch with their talent level. Went to Hoover, Alabama high school, right? Good baseball player. Decent football player. 6'3", 220. Looks the part. This kid committed to Ole Miss out of high school. He was initially committed to Ole Miss. Then he went to Oregon. Flipped to Oregon. Couldn't play there. Transfers to Auburn. I'll get to his stats in a little bit. Can't play here. And now he's transferring to South Carolina. Think about the schools he's been associated with. Ole Miss, Oregon, Auburn, South Carolina. It's like, bro, there are other schools outside of the SEC and the Pac-12. You have no business playing at these schools. You are not him. You're not any good. Robbie Ashford, you cannot play at this level. 49% completion percentage when given the job. 2022, he and TJ Finley are battling it out. They each get told they're the starter. They go out there, 49% completion percentage. Anthony Richardson could never. 1,600 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's that. I'm going to throw 1 pick, 1 touchdown, trade off. And then last year, he finally did 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 51.9% completion percentage. They, as soon as they saw it, they're like, wait. We don't need this guy on the field. We got worst quarterback. No, he is the worst quarterback. They got terrible quarterback play at Auburn, and he couldn't see the field. crazy, bruh. Robbie Ashford. Unless he's moving to receiver and I don't know about it, there's no reason he should be at South Carolina. None. It's gross. Zion Chris leaving Louisiana, going to Houston. I want to say one thing to Zion Chris. You finally got your shot. Why get up and bounce, bro? Why? Remember, this is a kid from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I understand you're following Willie Fritz, a guy who believes in you, going to give you a chance at the Power 5 level. Cool. But I know what I see on tape. This is a young man, won the 3A state title his junior year. Zion Chris, he's the future. I guess he's the future. He don't look any better than who's the starter right now? Who's the starter at Houston? Donovan? Yeah, Donovan something. I know who I'm talking about. The transfer from Texas Tech. Forgetting his last name right now. And I should not ever forget his last name. But I can tell you who's the other starter. Ben Woolridge. Ben Woolridge, the starter at Louisiana, is the guy who beat out Zion Chris before Chris got hurt this year. And then Woolridge went down week 3, got injured, and then you plug in Zion Chris here. Goes 3-3 as a starter. Played good teams. I think they beat a team that they weren't supposed to. I bet on it. I told everybody bet on it. He did well. But 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I thought he played well. He has 3 years of eligibility left. I just don't like the move. I don't think it's conducive to him seeing the field. Period. Donovan Smith. What was wrong with me? Donovan Smith. Eli Holstein, leaving Alabama, going to Pitt. Good move, man. You got 4 years of eligibility left. Eli Holstein, you're gonna go up there and sit the bench this year. Don't be ashamed, unless you can beat him out. Nate Yarnell should probably be the starter at Pitt. Chris Villieu is not any good. That's the Canadian. I told you guys he wouldn't be good. But Rico, he's a transfer from Penn State. Yeah, I know. I don't care, bro. These schools miss in recruiting. They miss. They don't need to be signing. Oh, Penn State's got terrible quarterbacks. Terrible. I told you guys this for 2 years now. Penn State has some of the worst quarterbacks you've ever seen. Eli Holstein, on the flip side, is a good football player. I watched his high school tape out of Zachary, Louisiana. I watched Eli Holstein's high school tape, and I thought Eli Holstein is him. When I watched the tape, best high school tape I've seen in a while. I know he went 15-0, was player of the year. They won state. I just thought he's the best. I kid you not. I thought he was going to go to LSU. And he went to Pitt. Western Carolina offensive coordinator just got hired by Pitt. He brought over his star running back, Desmond Reed, brought over his star wide receiver. Bro, he's got weapons. He's got toys to do some great things. Eli Holstein, congratulations. Hope you do great things up there. Sit tight, bro. You're better than Phil Jerkovich, the guy who does sets and turn into a tight end midseason. You're better than Chris Villieu. Nate Yarnell's good. He's a Texas kid. He's good. So good luck with that. Tommy Schuster, leaving North Dakota and doing what he wants to do, man. He's following his dream. No, he's not going to start. But I think he can. I think Tommy Schuster can fill in and become the starting quarterback at Michigan State. I think he's that good. Will he have to? I don't know. Aiden Childs is supposed to be the starter, transferring in from Oregon State. Got it. But Aiden Childs couldn't beat out DJ Uiagalelei. And Tommy Schuster's played a lot of football. 1 year of eligibility left. This is a Michigan kid. Shout out to Chippewa Valley. You're coming home. Go do your thing. He's played in 42 games. He's thrown for over 9,000 yards in his career. I think he can play. I think it's a good signing. He adds depth to your quarterback room. And anytime a guy shows up and he's thrown 63 touchdowns, 70% completion percentage, this last year, 70.7% completion percentage, I like him. One of the top backup quarterbacks in America. I know. You guys all think your quarterback room's stacked. One of the top quarterback rooms in America, backup quarterbacks, will be Tommy Schuster or Aiden Childs, whoever's backing up. But Schuster looks great. Watch the film, everything he's done. That's a guy who actually plays on Saturdays. Only 6 feet tall, don't care. Looks good. 6 feet tall, 7 inches taller. TJ Finley, 6'7", 260. They say he's 255. I don't believe him. He looks fatter. He's got that rib cage wrapped around him. He looks chubby. He's from Louisiana. He's a statue, bro. Statue with an arm. Stud, going to Western Kentucky. Just threw for 3,439 yards. Going to go get in that Tyson Helton offense at Western Kentucky. I don't know what's going to happen. Austin Reed played bad this last year. Malachi didn't do what he needed to do. The team didn't look great. Now, here's the problem. I just realized something we're not talking about, and the websites don't have it. They don't know. They have Caden Van Veltkamp still in the portal. I think they did. They might have taken him out now. Caden Veltkamp already said he's coming back to school. Caden Veltkamp was going to jump in the portal and leave Western Kentucky till he played in that bowl game. And you guys, I don't know if you remember this. We bet ODU to win that game, and ODU was going to win, and they were dominating. And then they benched Clay Helton's son, Tyson Helton's nephew, after he stunk it up so bad in the first quarter. He threw 2 interceptions. Caden Veltkamp comes off the bench and wins this game for Western Kentucky. One of the greatest performances you've ever seen. 383 yards and 5 touchdowns later. Caden Veltkamp, everybody starts going, man, this guy's going to stay? So the coaches convinced him to stay, but TJ Finley just transferred in. There's going to be a quarterback battle at Western Kentucky, and whoever loses that battle will be jumping in the transfer portal. I'm RicoKnows. This is what I do. I'm telling you, whoever loses the Western Kentucky quarterback battle is not going to stick around and give them depth at the position. He's going to leave. Like Tommy Schuster right above him. If he loses the quarterback battle, he's fine. He's going to stay and provide depth at the school. TJ Finley will not, and neither will Veltkamp. They better figure it out. It's a good problem to have if you're Western Kentucky. Tyler Shuck. Talked about him in the first episode, Mac Johnson's first episode. All these guys, second episode, all the way down until I get to Chandler Morris. Chandler Morris finally leaving TCU, going to North Texas. Head coach at North Texas is Eric Morris. That is not his dad. His dad is Chad Morris, the former Arkansas head coach. This is a great young man, supposed to be a Power 5 starter. Going to North Texas sounds scary, bro. Sounds like he's going to put up stupid numbers. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. Biggest problem with Chandler Morris is he's not healthy. He's not very durable. He gets injured a lot. 6 foot 190, and he runs and he throws, and he's just great. Won a state title. I think he went to Highland, Texas High School. Won a state title. Goes to Oklahoma. Gets in an Oklahoma quarterback room. I want to say the quarterback room had Chandler Morris, Tanner Mordecai, Spencer Rattler, and Caleb Williams. Lincoln Riley brought in 4 quarterbacks. People had to leave. Caleb Williams obviously ended up winning the job and becoming the starter. Everybody else hit the portal. He's part of that bunch. So it's an amazing quarterback room out of Oklahoma at that time. Chandler Morris, Caleb Williams. Obviously, Chandler Morris was the starter at TCU before he got hurt. And, everything just kind of didn't go well. One thing that I will say is Chandler Morris is going to have to compete with Stone Earl. Stone Earl was initially in the portal. They still have him on the website going to Abilene Christian. But I went and looked at Abilene Christian's transfer portal games, and they didn't have Stone Earl listed. So I went back and looked, and sure enough, Stone Earl is not going to Abilene Christian. He is staying at school. He realized, oh, man, they got rid of Chandler Rogers, went to Cal. I can stick around, so he's staying at school. So Chandler Morris is not leaving. I'm sorry, not Chandler Morris. Stone Earl. And he had just transferred in from Abilene Christian, so a whole other thing there. Ken Sills leaving Vandy, going to TCU. Congratulations. Ken Sills actually pretty good. He provides really good depth. That's another good backup if he's not going to start over Hoover. Josh Hoover actually played really well. But Ken Sills threw for over 1,000 yards in 2020, 21, and 23 while at Vandy. Played games. Texas kid coming back home. He's played in games. You guys don't count him out just because he was at Vandy. He's 9th all-time at Vandy in passing touchdowns. Started one whole season. 9th all-time. He's not bad. I think he's okay. Watch the tape. He looked fine. Cole Snyder. This is a lateral move, and he needs one. This is a kid who couldn't start at Rutgers, went to Buffalo, actually played pretty good early on last season, and then things just didn't go well. He did go to Syracuse. We took a trip to Syracuse before McCord signed. So Syracuse was interested in him. He can play at that level. He can play up. So he can do okay. I think Buffalo still needs a quarterback now. They need to get Reese Poffenbarger. Now, Reese doesn't want to leave Miami. He has years of eligibility left, and he's backing up. I mean, he's not going to start over Cam Ward. Reese is staying up there, but I think Reese Poffenbarger, leaving Albany, needs to go to Buffalo and replace Cole Snyder. That's what I would do. If I'm him, I would go up to Buffalo. You'd be the bona fide starter. No one's going to argue with you. I like it. But Cole Snyder himself, congratulations going to Eastern Michigan. They needed a quarterback. They had terrible quarterback play, some of their guys. But there's Reese down here, Reese Poffenbarger. I just talked about him. Going to Miami, I think this is too big of a move for him. I think Reese belongs at Buffalo. Regionally, holistically, everything about it. That's how I feel. Treson Bourget going to BYU. One of the worst signings here. I don't get it. Couldn't beat out Hayden Wolf, the transfer from ODU. Went to Western Michigan. Treson never impressed me. But he's from Tucson, Arizona. He wanted to get closer to home. It's cool. He's a pro-style quarterback. I think he belongs at the FCS level. Probably should have been looking at NAU, Northern Arizona. That's where he probably belongs. Or Utah Tech or something like that. It just looks okay. I saw his best game against Ball State. 3 touchdowns, 328 yards. Saw his best game, and I still didn't think, yeah, man, that guy's an FBS player. Never really crossed my mind like that. Hank Bachmeier, first episode. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the list. I think the last guy I'm talking about is Reese today, and then I'll get to the chat, and then the show's over. We got to get – I wanted to end the show by 3 o'clock because of the NFL playoffs. I can't expect you guys to watch me through the NFL playoffs. Hank Bachmeier, first episode. Bryson Barnes. Talk about him now. I think this is one of the worst transfer portal decisions he's made. Leaving Utah, going to Utah State. Barnes has 2 years of eligibility left. We saw this year he's just not the guy for Utah, so everybody's like, well, he's going to Utah State. Maybe they're going to get a Utah transfer. He's going to start. No, he's not. No way. Cooper Lagasse is a good quarterback. Cooper Lagasse can play, and McCray Hillstead is a stud as well. Go back and watch Cooper Lagasse, though. And they just got Spencer Petras to transfer in from Iowa, but I want to focus on Cooper Lagasse. This is the starter for Utah State. Just go watch the first game of the season. I sat down. I said, I'm going to watch all Cooper Lagasse tape. Ready, go. Turn on the first game. He throws for 214 yards. And you might think that's terrible or that's okay or that's average. Bro, it was against Iowa. Against an Iowa defense that nobody was throwing over 200 yards. Nobody. I'm telling you, I wrote about this on Twitter. Only 2 other guys, Hudson Card and one more. It wasn't J.J. McCarthy. It wasn't Drew Allar. It wasn't any of the guys you would think it was. It was, man, I can't remember who it was. But, it was the kid from Illinois. The kid who transferred in from Ball State. And he only started like 2 games because of injury. John Paddock and Hudson Card, the only 2 guys to go over 200 yards against Iowa last year. The third guy to do it was Cooper Lagasse, Utah State starting quarterback. He played great, man. He looks good on tape. I think Bryson Barnes transferring to Utah State is straight to the bench. 3rd string. Terrible decision. He's a Utah kid, so he wanted to stay in state? Wanted to stay closer to home? You're not built like that, bro. Terrible. Not good. And that's telling you how bad the quarterback play was at Utah last year. Promise. If Bryson Barnes is starting for Utah State, I was wrong. I'll make an I was wrong video. But if he's not starting, I'm going to make an I was right video. This kid belongs on the bench. I think it's a bottom 10 transfer portal move. I think it's terrible. Whoever advised him to stay in state and go to Utah State, you're wrong. He should have went to Utah Tech. Should have went to Southern Utah. Not this move. Not good. Mitch Griffiths talked about him on the first episode. Destin Wade, second episode. And we're now at Reese Poffenbarger. Going to talk to him. He's my last guy for this episode. Everybody else will have to be the next episode. Shout out to Snoop and Dre. But we're looking at Reese Poffenbarger. He's only 6 feet tall. His sister's 6'2", by the way. She's the Division I athlete. But he played at Albany, and he played amazing. He threw for 2,900 yards. 2,999. Almost 3,000 yards. 1 yard away in 2022. And you thought, man, this is great. 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 2,990 yards. This last year, though? This last year, he led the FCS in passing. 3,600 yards and 14 or 36-4. 14. 36-14. He was so great. 36 touchdowns. 3,600 yards. The only thing is they went out, I think in the playoffs they lost pretty bad. Were they the team that lost 59-0 to South Dakota State? It was bad. I think he had 3 interceptions in his final game. It was not good. 3 interceptions in the final game. 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He got shut down. And you turn that into an offer with Miami. I don't know. Like I said, I think he should be the starting quarterback at Buffalo. Starting quarterback. Should have been the starting quarterback at Rutgers. Shit like that. Temple. ODU. JMU. They should have been looking at him. Not Miami. This was a panic signing by Miami because they didn't think they were going to get Cam Ward or DJ Uiagalelei. So they signed Reese. Reese has 2 years of eligibility left, so he's already he hasn't redshirted. So if I'm him, I redshirt this year. You let Ja'Cory Brown back up Cam Ward, and then you redshirt, and then Ja'Cory Brown either leaves or becomes the starter, and now you have to compete for your final 2 years. That's what I would do if I'm Reese. But that's where we're at. Thank you guys for being here. I hope I talked about everybody you wanted to hear. Let's go to the chat one last time, and then we'll get out of here. Okay? Chat one last time. Adam Silver is soft as baby shit. This is correct. Yes. Rico, I got a junior day invite from a school. What does that mean for me? Leon, it means they want to see you work out as juniors. That means you're going to go and get exposure, go to the camp. You work out. It doesn't mean anything more than that. So they identify a bunch of people they want to see in the region, in the area. You get identified. Congratulations. Go work out. Do your best to compete. Be better than others. Ask for a post-camp analysis. Ask for a post-camp assessment from the coaches. You attend the camp, see if they're really taking notes on you. See if they're really giving you assessment on how to be a better player. Do not just go and never talk to them again. Say, hey, coach, I attended your junior day camp. I would like a post-camp analysis. Reach out to them on Twitter. See what happens. Is Max Johnson trending to start at UNC? He has been overrated his entire career. I think Max Johnson's a very good quarterback. We're on opposite ends of the spectrum there. Do you think the UFL is helpful to some of the quarterbacks on today's list as an alternative to the league? If so, which quarterbacks do you think could go play there after this year? Vibes. So I would probably be better equipped to answer that question after the draft, not after a season of football. Let me say this to you. I actually have a roster. Man, I wish I could pull it up while I'm sitting here. I don't think I can pull it up. Let me double check while I'm sitting here if I can do this. Give me a second here. Undrafted. Yep. So here we go. So I do this after every draft. Let me go back one. So I have this chart here where I look at every single player that's undrafted, and I go through them and I rank them. So like Tyson Bagent, went undrafted, but I think he's going to the Bears. You see that? So he's going to the Bears. Tommy DeVito, undrafted, but he went to the Giants. This is what I made after the draft, which is crazy because look who I ranked up here, and here they are, and they're in the NFL today. So I was right about some of these guys. App State, Chase Bryce. So I start identifying guys who aren't on teams. Lindsey Scott Jr., Malik Cunningham, Logan Bonner, Holton Ayers, Adrian Martinez. So if you want to know who's going to make it in the UFL, it's going to be somebody from my list here and not necessarily me guessing at who didn't get drafted. And I have them in columns. So I have quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, all the way, every single position group that didn't get drafted, including kickers and punters in that last column over here. So I do that analysis after the draft, and I'll identify guys who I think are going to make a team, and then I can identify who isn't going to make a team. But I rank guys different from everybody else, bro. I'm a different kind of dude. So thanks for the question. But yeah, I keep databases like that. It's just I got to cycle through it. Since it was last year, I had to click back a little bit. So you saw it took about 30 seconds to find it. But I have charts for everything. So yeah, I can identify after the draft who's going to make it in the UFL. Thanks for asking. A lot of that stuff is my resources I keep to myself, though. What we thinking about Florida's quarterback room this season? I think Graham Mertz played a lot better than people anticipated. I hope DJ Lagway gets the red shirt, and we do really well with Florida's quarterback room. I hope it's great. Listening while driving, just racking up knowledge. Shout out to you, Connor. Don't drive too fast. Don't get distracted. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate everybody. Remember, Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Y'all stay up. Peace. Everybody have a blessed day. Enjoy your NFL games. I'll never watch them.
If a nigga step up, I say good night. Written on the ground in chalk, all that off-white. Put you right up on a shirt. I'll be damned if I never put in work. You a broke ass bitch, your pockets hurt. And I carry an Uzi, no vert, chillin' in the jacuzzi. My way, now me on the dash, driving down the highway. Only care about the cash, what the fuck can I say? I've been waiting for the blow up, call me Pompeii. Hey, hop inside an Audi, then I did the dash. Shawty know I only care about the cash. Big dance, big sticks, big rash. She asked me how I got it, said I got it like that. I get it when I want it, smoking marijuana. Keep it hotter than a sauna, smoking till the sun up. They asked me if I have bands, I said bring your funds up. They texted me to a challenge, and they didn't show up.